what advice do you have to any aspiring artists who want to make it in comics?
I think right now is the greatest time in terms of comics. There's so much, there's so many great books out there, so many great artists and writers. It's a great way to absorb the medium.
Yeah.
As a young artist, I would encourage them to draw as much as they can. Get a sketchbook, bring that around with you everywhere. Draw something every day. Not everything you draw is going to be perfect, but everything you do has a particular goal at the end of the day. A lot of times I equate sports again back with art, right? You look at football, the NFL. Football is played one day a week, on Sunday, maybe Thursday, right? 4 quarters, 15 minutes each quarter. So technically 1 hour of game time determines whether you win or lose. Of course, it takes 3 hours to play.
Of course.
Commercials,
time
stop,
and
but it's not a literal, 1 hour for a comic book page. But whether you win or lose is determined within that span of time. That game is when you sit down on a Bristol board and you're drawing the page. What most artists, young artists, don't see is the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday of practice, training, drills, videotape, executing plays, lifting weights, eating the correct foods, weight training, strength training, conditioning, all of that going into technically 1 hour of whether you win or lose, right?
They see that 1 hour and they're like, oh, they make it look easy, but there's so much that goes into it that people don't.
There's so much preparation that goes involved in it, and so as a comic book artist, no, it's not going to be 6 days before you can work on one page, right? But there is incremental amount of preparation needed, and as a comic book artist, you need to know how to draw everything. Sometimes you need to draw. You need to learn how to draw stuff that you don't like to draw.
Absolutely.
But you still have to know how to draw it. I see too many young artists that only draw people, faces, figures, and it's the same thing from when I first started back in '92, even till today. And they're missing out on all the background, all the environments, all the cars, even regular clothing. Those are all things that are storytelling components.
Yeah.
It's not just people. Even though we're humans and we like to draw people and we associate with that, we also live in an environment. And the environment tells the story, if not much more than the characters themselves. So draw stuff and force yourself to learn how to draw things that you're not good at, right? And then the other equation is basketball. Yeah. So I say, if you want to be in the NBA, how many professional comic book artists do you think are working right now getting a paycheck in comics for Marvel and DC?
Just for those two companies?
Just for those two companies.
I mean, you think if you're doing pencil, inker, colorist.
Well, let's just say pencilers and inkers.
Okay, so that's
pencilers.
That's two jobs, and say
pencilers.
Let's say 40 books per company or 50 books per company. So let's say about that's 200 people, right?
Yeah,
at
roughly around. Well, Marvel published around 89, 92. DC around the same each month.
Yeah.
That's how many new books are coming out.
Okay.
Right. Then there's also maybe some special projects that are in production.
Elseworld stories and
right. So about 300.
Yeah.
Right. Usually I start off with saying, how many guys do you think play in the NBA? It's really difficult. It's really fucking difficult to play in the NBA,
absolutely.
Right? 15 players on each team, 30 teams, 450 players in the NBA getting a paycheck right now in the NBA. They just had like media day today. Right. That's more than the active number of comic book artists working for Marvel DC right now, right? Granted, the pay scales,
absolutely,
tremendous pay scale now, difference, but there's not a lot of guys.
No, definitely not.
And it's a global market, right? It used to be just the guys in the U.S. because whoever can show up to the shows in the U.S.
will get the jobs.
Yeah. But now you got companies that are actively recruiting overseas.
Yep. Right. Because they're able to do it for much more
Right.
inexpensively.
And or even access guys, email, or now you have guys in different countries that have agents.
Yep.
So the agents have contacts with the companies. They go through the agents find them work. The agents translate the plots and stories for them to then draw.
Wow.
Because art is universal, right? So if you're a good artist anywhere, you should be able to convey a particular story. Now, storytelling sensibility is a whole other discussion, and I know we don't have that much time left. But so you think about that, right? There's not that many positions available. And the longevity of the career, I've been drawing comics since '92, so it's 26 years now. Yeah. Not all 26 years, but it's 26 years. Yeah. Other guys I know, like John Paul's been drawing for 26, 27 years, right? So there is good longevity in the career if you're good, right? But you have to have all the skills.
Yeah.
So if we bring it back to sports again, you look at the NBA. A lot of guys that just draw people or superheroes,
Yeah.
muscular men or sexy women, whatever it is. They're only dunking,
Yeah.
or they're only shooting 3-pointers.
You're not hitting all the shots. They're not doing the bounce passes.
But basketball is dribbling,
Yeah.
passing, defense.
Absolutely.
Right? Along with strength and conditioning, but also strategy, all these different aspects, different positions, right? You could be a point guard, shooting guard, or a small forward, or a center, right? If you're a center, you're going to grab rebounds. You're going to do a particular set skills very well. But there's all these other skill sets that you still have to have
Absolutely.
basic fundamental foundation built on. So now when you're young is the time to learn, right? Because going back to the theory of 10,000 hours,
Yeah.
right? I started drawing when I was 3 or 4. So I've been able to accumulate 10,000 hours. So by the time I was 20, I think I should have broken earlier.
Yeah.
But, you figure like LeBron or Kobe started when he was like 17 or 18,
Yeah.
broke in.
In the
LeBron,
NBA.
same thing, yeah. So in hockey players, football players, usually around 19, 20,
Is that time when they're going?
they have accumulated 10,000 hours of proper training. The key, too, is not just 10,000 hours. It's 10,000 hours of proper training.
Yeah.
So that means lifting weights. That means dribbling. That means,
Doing all
Steve-
the stuff that's
right.
not the sexy stuff. Of taking
Exactly. It's
three-pointers
not
and
the
dunking.
sexy stuff. It's all the dirty, stuff, boring stuff. Boring stuff that you don't like.
Yeah.
Steve Nash, one of the greatest NBA players, he would dribble a tennis ball.
Yeah.
Anytime he was in class in school, he would dribble a tennis ball. Can't dribble a basketball because it's too loud and
Yeah.
too obstructive, but a tennis ball he would dribble in the hallway, right? So those are all proper hours.
Yeah.
If you are good with your right hand as a basketball player, but you're not good with your left, well, how do you get good with your left? Well, yeah, you practice dribbling, but you also eat with your left hand instead of eating with your right. You open the door with your left hand instead of your right.
Yep.
You brush your teeth with your left hand instead of your right. And slowly you begin to program your brain and your body
To
then
say,
accept
okay,
other
the
side.
left hand is
Right.
now the dominant hand.
Yeah.
Focus on just doing.
And all that takes time,
Absolutely.
right? So if you equate that, transfer that to art, right? Everything takes time. You have to draw. So if you have your sketchbook and you draw every single day, you accumulate this. You're training yourself to learn, and over a course of time, you'll be able to develop a skill set.
Yeah.
I used to teach at Art Center, and this is the last thing I'll leave you with. I taught a course at Art Center, and some of my students that I met initially, they could not draw very well.
Mhm.
They loved comics, but they couldn't draw very well. And then they enrolled into Art Center full time. And after they graduated in 3 or 4 years, they came out perspectives, environments, amazing, because they dedicated themselves to a particular craft, and they understood that it's not just fun, right? There's a level of seriousness that you have to have, because it's a career.
Absolutely.
So I would encourage any young artists out there to look at it from that perspective.
Yeah.
There's stuff that you do right now that's fun. There's stuff that you do that maybe pumps up your ego or gets you going and it's
Yeah.
exciting.
But you have to do everything. You have to
But
do
you have to do everything. You have to look at it from a sense of
business perspective, and
Right.
you have to learn
This is
how
a
to draw
career.
the background. You have to learn
Yeah.
how to draw the apple and inside the shoe and everything.
right. And not everybody's LeBron James or Kobe
Yeah.
Bryant, but there are Udonis Haslem has played in the NBA for 19 years now.
Yeah, and he's just a workhorse, and he knows
And
how
he's
to
the
hustle.
captain of the Miami Heat.
Exactly.
And he's a warrior. And so
That's what it takes. You have to have put in those hours to
it's
make
not,
the work.
and it's also, I would encourage, it's not enough to just draw 1 or 2 books.
Yeah,
Right? You really have to build a career.
absolutely.
So there are guys, Dwayne Wade is into his 16th year.
Yeah,
Right?
it's crazy. That blows my mind.
Most
Man.
average NBA careers are 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.